Okay, my name is Ferdisha Snagg. I'm a partner in Cleary Gottlieb. I specialize in financial services regulation.
And I'm Gurpreet Manku, Level 20 CEO. Level 20 is a not for profit aimed at getting more women into senior investment roles in European private equity.
Great. So Gurpreet, we were just on stage. We just had the privilege or the task, not sure which one, of kicking off this conference with a conversation around the role of women in private markets, where we try to talk about what are the opportunities and exactly how do we get women to be able to capitalize on those opportunities, and how do we get the industry to just make progress in gender diversity in particular, but diversity more broadly. I should have said we were also very lucky to be joined by Imogen Richards, who is head of European private equity at Pantheon. And she shared an experience I found very touching of being a mentee at level 20. And you guys talked a lot about the impact of that. And I wondered if, Gurpreet, you wouldn't mind sort of, we have a little bit more time just to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what that means, what programs like the mentoring program that you guys run, what that means.
Yeah. So the mentoring program was one of Level 20's initial initiatives. It's our flagship program. And we're in our 10th year now. And over 1,300 mentees have been through that program across our different European chapters. It's one of our most impactful programs, and it involves industry leaders and lots of women across the industry. When we look at our data, we can see that nearly 90%, around 88% of the mentees who've been through the one-to-one program across Europe are still in the industry, and over 80% of them have been promoted at least once. A number of them are partners, people like Imogen, who's one of the initial mentees in the program. And we found that it's quite a structured way to support women and firms in the industry. When we look at why women apply to join the program, they're looking for external support to help them figure things out. And it's always helpful to have an external voice work through things through with you. So the program runs for a year. The mentees and mentors meet every sort of 6 to 8 weeks. They set objectives. They figure out what they're going to work on and talk through. When we look at themes that come up, often it's about areas related to the job. So things like such as building networks, building relationships, leadership skills, thinking about presence, thinking about how to, think through deal origination, for example, as well as family life matters as well, and thinking about how to manage your career, looking for support around promotions. And so um, it's just been a very valuable, impactful program for the mentees, but also the mentors. The mentors get to hear firsthand the experience of women in the industry, and they pick up things that they can take back to their own firms as well.
Even in my own sector, which is sort of adjacent
Mm.
to yours, the that sense of needing, allies and mentors and sponsors, advocates,
Yeah.
but people doing very practical things. Leading properly is the way I the way
Yeah.
I see it. Actually, if you're a leader in this industry, any other industry, where you have a team of people, where you have diverse people, I think you really have to do it properly. You have to be very deliberate in
Mm.
making sure you are creating opportunities for everyone,
Mm.
and you're supporting everyone to be their best,
Yeah.
to be their best selves. So that really touched me on that. And then I suppose maybe to conclude, a lot of what we talked about to kind of set the scene and to kind
Mm.
of explain kind of where we are in this industry in terms of creating opportunities for men. You were talking a lot about the sort of fourth iteration
Yeah.
of the
The
level
data.
20
Yeah.
report, and sort of where we are. So I don't know if we wanted to end just on the key stats,
Yeah.
the key trends actually, and whether we have reason to be optimistic, and what we can do.
Yeah. I mean, this is a data driven industry. We love numbers as much as policy and regulation. Maybe
Like
that's just
words.
you and me. But we like the numbers as much as the words. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is sharing data-led insights and practical recommendations and actions firms can take. Level 20 does 3 types of research. The first is on on demographics, so looking at the representation of women in investment roles. The second is around the voice of women, so sharing the perspectives of women in the industry and how to support them. And the third is giving more information on market practice. And a really good example of that has been our family leave report, which talks about policies, practices, and there's just a ton of data and practical tips firms can take away from that. But if we look at where we are now, having just published the UK data set and looking at it combined with our other European data, 1 in 4 investment roles across Europe is now held by a woman. Just a few years ago, it was 1 in 5. So we've seen that increase quite significantly in recent years. When we look at the overall representation of women in senior investment roles, in the UK, that's now 15%. Across Europe as a whole, it's 14%. Some countries are doing really well, like France and Sweden, others not so much. There is continued momentum and growth at that mid-level, which is really critical. So you've got more women in mid-level investment roles, and that's a kind of core constituency you want to keep in the industry so they progress into those senior roles. And in the UK, we're at around 38% of junior roles. Overall in Europe, it's around 35%. Right. And you're sort of seeing those numbers plateau at that level.
Are you worried about that plateauing?
I think it puts more emphasis on retention.
Right.
So it could be just a factor of the cycle. We both know that during those pandemic years, there was a lot of recruitment. And when I speak to firms, a lot of them are focused on supporting the people that they've hired. They didn't just hire women, they hired a lot of people in 21, 22. So it does put a lot more emphasis on retention, but different firms, different countries will be at different stages across Europe. So where we're at right now is that we've got a really kind of good base to continue to build upon, and that's key. We talked about lots of tips and things that different leaders and women can do to support each other earlier on, but you just need to keep that momentum going. It's an apprenticeship industry. I've been told this many times when I first started looking at this subject of diversity, again around 10 years ago, and we're sort of seeing that kind of make its way through the system now.
Yeah, and that also struck me about what you said. I'm not quite sure it's quite the same point, but I always look at law as a vocational industry and that you learn by doing. And so it's so important to have role models. It's so important to have actual exposure to people doing the job and supporting you to do the job as well. It's not a sort of very academic thing. That's kind of how I look at it.
One of the pieces of work we did in 2023 with the Inclusion Initiative at the London School of Economics is worth looking at, because it looked at the perspectives of women at that mid-level. There's loads of brilliant quotes, feedback, recommendations, steps firms can take in it. And the overriding message being shared was that women were keen for visibility, voice, and opportunity. And so as leaders, we can definitely create those opportunities for talent to thrive. And that's a point that we make continuously. So often it's just a reminder to do the little things, like, look at your team, try and sort of ensure that there aren't these in-out group tendencies. When you're looking at who's getting the opportunity to speak and present, is that being shared equally? Are you making sure that people are being allocated to good deal opportunities where their abilities can really come through? And then all the way through it, we talked about transparency and the need to be clear about the path to partnership and path to promotion more generally, but all the way through, communication is vital, but giving feedback. I mean, the amount of times you sort of think, actually, it's so fundamental, but it's sometimes forgotten. It's really, really important to give good quality, constructive feedback consistently, and that really supports career trajectories in this industry.
I mean, I would just sort of add to say all those things cross-sectorally as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
right? I think cross-industry as well.
yeah,
Just realizing how interconnected working in the city
yeah.
is, right. I think I was talking to you on the way up here, that I was very grateful for the opportunity to do this
Mm,
as a new partner, etc. Sort of being supported and having a platform to do my job a bit better. And I suspected that it was having done a similar event that someone saw me and
yeah,
and proposed me for this, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, actually. And that's why I was very keen for our firm to support this and sponsor this, so that I could actually kind of repay whatever recommendation that came, whether
yeah,
it was from Level 20 or somewhere else, to say, look, you should do this. You have a little bit of encouragement and support in, again,
yeah.
people wanting to hear what you have to say. So that's very important, actually. And I also try to kind of think that through when I am working with women across the
Mm.
city. If you work with somebody, you think they're brilliant, etc. Just saying
Yes,
that to their bosses, saying that, helping them to get opportunities. And this doesn't necessarily have to be women, but anybody that you think, look, they're doing things maybe a little bit differently, and they could do with the opportunity. For me, it's very important to encourage and support in that way.
that's what it was one of my clients gave that feedback to a partner I was working with. God, it was 20 years ago, and that really propelled my propelled my career. Just giving feedback on the women that you're working with, even if they're not within your organization, is a really good thing. It's one of the recommendations in the report that we've published with the BVCA. Um, Giving women opportunity to speak at industry conferences, help raise their profile and their visibility is really important to do.
Yeah, and I know sort of Amber and the organizers of this conference, they've really been
Yeah.
thoughtful
Yep.
about structuring panels, etc., to make sure that
Yeah.
there's as much diversity as possible. And again, I really appreciate kind of participating
Mm.
in a sort of event like this, where people have been very deliberate
Yep.
and thoughtful about that. It just adds something, sort of additional special layer to this, actually,
Yeah.
which makes this more meaningful. So I mean, I think we've had I've gotten to know you a bit better and to understand the work of Level
Yeah.
20 a bit better. So I feel this is a great point to sort of end this. I don't know if you have any kind of final words that you want to get
No,
across.
just thank you. It's been a lovely morning, and I'm sure our paths will cross again.
No, and thank you very much. It was a great way to start the day,
Yeah.
actually. The drama I had at the weekend,
It's okay.
etc. So
You're
it was
here. You're
so it
here.
was wonderful to be able to
Yeah.
make this event and have a really great conversation in the sort of conference, and then this sort
Yeah.
of additional bonus conversation. So
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.